Hi everyone, I'm Mark Duiker, Senior Developer Advocate at Ably, where we enable developers to build real-time experiences, such as chat applications, dashboards, asset tracking, and games. Today, I'm excited to announce the Ably Control API GitHub action, an action you can use in your GitHub workflows to provision and manage your Ably applications. Let's have a look. So if you're already very familiar with GitHub workflows and actions, and maybe you've even used the Control API REST interface, then you probably just want to know, okay, where can I get this new GitHub action? And if you go to the marketplace and search for Ably, you'll end up here, the Ably Control API action. If you're not so familiar with GitHub workflows and actions and haven't heard of the Control API at all yet, then just keep watching. I'll explain in a bit more detail. Let's have a look at this diagram, and let's start all the way at the right. So that mentions the Ably platform and applications and keys. So before there was any Control API or any GitHub action, you would need to go through the Ably dashboard to create your applications and keys. So let's switch back to the Ably dashboard. That's this. And you can create your applications via this blue button, create new app. And then you will have this wizard where you can create your new Ably application. And once you have your new application, you can list your API keys by going to the API keys tab. And here you see all your API keys. Some of them are provisioned by Ably. For instance, the root API key is provisioned, and that contains all of the capabilities. And there's always a subscribe only API key, but only the subscribe capability. But in addition, you can create additional API keys. So in this case, there is a generated API key that has publish and subscribe capabilities. And if you need more, you can click this button, create a new API key. So although this is a intuitive way to create applications and API keys, it's not a very efficient way, because this is a manual task. And in case you want to provision more and more applications, you always need to go to this dashboard to do this. A much better way, I think, is to automate as much as possible. So that means also the creation of your cloud infrastructure should be done in a CI/CD pipeline, continuous integration and continuous delivery pipeline. So about a year ago, Ably released the Control API, and that is a REST interface, and that allows you to provision and manage your Ably applications. So you can use curl or Postman to interact with the Ably platform. And that's really a great start. But since a lot of people are using GitHub for their source code, and a lot of people are also starting to use GitHub Actions for their CI/CD, the next step was now to create a GitHub action that actually uses the Control API under the hood. So it's now a bit easier again to provision and manage your Ably applications. So that means that everything is now under source control. So that means that you have a lot more security around your provisioning of your cloud infrastructure. And that also means that the whole process is repeatable and predictable. And that's, I think, exactly what you want. So how can you use this Control API GitHub action? Well, if you've seen some of the existing actions there, then you probably know there's always a bit of configuration you need to do. There's always some inputs you need to specify when these actions are executed. And for this Control API GitHub action, there are 2 required inputs and some optional inputs. The 2 required inputs are the account ID, and there are some instructions how to get to this account ID. And the other control required input is the Control API key. There are also instructions how you can create one of these. And at the moment, this Control API key needs read and write permissions for both the app and the key, because at the moment, that's the only thing it can create, applications and keys. Then there are a couple of optional input parameters. So there's the application name. So you can provide a friendly name for the app there, but it defaults to the repository name. There's a Boolean parameter called createKey to indicate if you want to create an API key or not. There's an optional parameter called keyName to provide a friendly name for the API key, and it will default to generated API key. And the final optional input is called key capabilities, and that's a comma-separated list to specify the capabilities of the key. It defaults to publish subscribe at the moment, but you can choose any values from this list. Again, if you want more information about the capabilities and what they mean, there's a link to the documentation here. The required inputs, the account ID and control API key, are secrets, and they are meant to be kept secret. So never put these in source control. Instead, you can put these in GitHub secrets. So if you haven't seen it yet, let me quickly show you. So this is a repository where we actually built the GitHub action, but it's also using it to test it. And if you go to settings, and then scroll down to secrets and then actions, then you can see that there are two repository secrets defined here. One for the account ID and one for the control API key. And in our GitHub workflow and the control API action, we refer to these repository secrets. So you can add new secrets via this way, provide the name and paste the value of the secret in here. All right, before I show some examples, I'll quickly mention the outputs. So there are 5 outputs. The first one is the application name. The second one is the ID of the application. Then there's the name of the API key in case that's created, and the ID of the API key, and the actual key value of the API key. Most of the IDs and keys are marked as a secret, so they won't show up in the GitHub logs. Then 2 examples. The top one is a minimum example that only uses the required inputs. So here we can see we use the Ably control API action in our Ably Labs organization, and the 015 is the latest version at the moment. And here you can see we are referring to the GitHub secret by using secrets dot and then the name of the secret to specify the account ID, and the same for the control API key. We also get that from GitHub secrets. The other step is simply a way to show you how you can use the outputs. So you can use the outputs of the previous step by going, you're using the ID. So Ably app.outputs, and you can use the app name there. So in case you need to provide your application name and keys and values into another action, then this would be the way to go. The second example is using all the inputs. So here we are also specifying the application name. We specify that we want to create an API key. We specify a name for the API key, and we specify the key capabilities for that key. And that's all there is to it. So if you want a bit more information on the control API, so the REST interface that was released last year, I recommend reading this blog post, Introducing Control API, Provision and Configure Ably Programmatically. I'll put the link in the description. If you want to know a bit more about infrastructure as code in general and how GitHub workflow works and how you can create a custom action, because that's what we've done here with Ably, creating a custom action that uses the control API, then I recommend reading this blog post. So I'm very curious how you are going to use this. If you're using Ably to create real-time applications, please give this a go. And we are very curious about your feedback because we always want to improve this experience. Thanks.